Okay, let me make sure everything's working. So, hang on just 1 second. I think just checking to make sure my stream is going through. Okay, and everything looks good. Alright, so, yeah. So, today we're going to be doing something different. And let me just get this all set up on my other monitor. Okay, everything looks good. So we're going to be doing camera animation, and we're basically going to be flying through this scene, and that's what I'm going to be setting up today. And I'm going to be adding one more asset from one of my other projects, and that'll be interesting because it'll just add more detail. And it's basically a tunnel that I created in another project, and we're going to be flying through it, and I'm going to set up all the camera animation in this video. Okay, so let's get that started. So here's my other file, and I already opened it up. You can see that it's just a tunnel, and if you look through it, I could set it to render, and it's kind of interesting. It was one of my other projects on my Instagram, which the link is in the description, so you could check this one out. But yeah, so I'm basically going to be taking this 3D model, and before I import it into my new project, let's actually cut a tunnel out through this. So I'm going to just add this shape in and just click that, and then control minus, and I actually have to enable the boolean tool add-on here, so let's just do that. There we go, and that should work. Yes, there it goes. And now I can just scale that up a lot in the X direction so that I get the other side. And I think that that's good. Now I might have to scale that down a little bit, I'm not really sure. Because it seems like, yeah, I might have to actually make that bigger. Actually, but because it's got some odd geometry in the model. You know what, I'm going to do this side a different way. So, for now, what I'm going to do is just cut this side from the model. Oh yeah, okay, I was wondering why it wasn't working, but that's okay, it's working now. So let's just add a bevel after that. And actually, I had this right the first time. Okay, so this boolean has to be brought above the first bevel, and now it looks okay. So let's just actually extend that again and make sure it goes through the whole geometry. And let me make sure that I got comments enabled. I'm sorry guys, I had comments disabled, so you weren't able to comment before, but I just enabled it, so the live chat should be up now, so you can ask any questions. I apologize about that. So, this part I don't actually want to be included in the geometry. I'm going to scale that down because I'm getting some artifacts in the mesh And let's just bring that down to make things generally even. And something like that is actually pretty good. So I can just go in and then duplicate this and then apply all the modifiers and then save it. And I'm going to just call this, let's see, can I actually just copy this, Control C, and then paste it into here? That would be awesome if it worked. Yeah, I can. Alright, that makes things very easy. So, now I got the model in this forest project. Now I gotta figure out where to place it, so... Actually, I meant to... I'm gonna undo that because I didn't select all the other models inside. So I'm gonna just do that one more time. And... So we got that one selected. Now I have to select all the lights that are inside. It's kind of hard to see. There it is. So Control C. Okay. There it is. And Control C again. And then go to my other project. And it's this one. Control V. And let's make sure everything is in, and it looks like it's working, so I'm just going to bring that up. And then we don't need this other one. It'll slow down my computer, so I'm going to just X that one out. Okay, so now we got everything set up. And I'm going to place this somewhere, so let's just scale this up a little bit. But again, you want to make it like real life size. You don't want to go too crazy. And I'm not sure where I would place this. I think I'm going to put it in the water somewhere. So it's kind of like a floating island or something. And then the camera's going to just come in from above and then fly through. And it's just going to look interesting. So let's just move this somewhere like over here. That looks pretty cool. And of course it could be below the waterline a little bit. And maybe a little bit bigger. And it's kind of like a tunnel, I guess you could say. Let's see how it looks inside. Just gonna get the render set up. It's gonna take a little bit of time. That's alright though. Now the problem is I'm gonna be rendering this on a render farm, and honestly it's just too, let's see. How many samples is this going at 32? Let's just see how the denoiser looks. Because if I were to render this on a render farm, I don't want all these artifacts. Because on a render farm, I can't... if I use too many samples, it will take up a lot. The price will go up and it'll just become too expensive. But then again, if I have too much noise, it's going to create a lot of artifacts, so it's kind of like a trade-off either way. Let's enable the stats, statistics. Not sure how to get the sample count to show up, but I mean, honestly, this doesn't look too bad. The artifacts are very minimal, and this is only 32 samples, and I think we could go with something like this, and this looks pretty good. And you see we got some water from the lake inside, and that's alright. So I'm actually going to leave that like that. And you can see if we just look at it from above. I mean, it's clearing up pretty quick, the noise. I think this is fine. And let's just make sure the concrete texture's coming through. Maybe I'll turn off the denoiser temporarily to see things better. Yeah, it looks like it's actually working pretty good. So now that we got that set up, actually, before we do anything more, let's just adjust to make sure that the position looks good, which I think it looks, I'm trying to make it look like it's floating, and I think it looks pretty good. And let's just see if we can go into the shader editor and maybe see how the material looks, maybe make it a little more contrasty to give it more of a concrete look. That looks really good. But then again, inside, we don't want it to get too dark. Otherwise, render times go up a lot. So we'll test out the denoiser and see what it looks like. Okay, it's just waiting. Seems like it's not loading. Let's try optics. Maybe I gotta restart it. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's reasonable. Just want to see to make sure the noise is clearing up fairly quick. Maybe I'll make it a little bit brighter. Just a little bit. And then turn the brightest parts a little bit brighter. And then I'm just going to test it one more time with open image denoise and just see how everything looks. Just to make sure everything that there's no crazy amounts of noise. Wow, this is only like 5 samples and it already looks awesome, so I think we're going to leave it at this. So let's go back to the camera and we're going to be doing some animation now. So let's, so we got our object placed over here. So we're going to be doing some pan arounds. And we're going to see what we can do here. So there's 2 ways we can do this, and we can either just use the view and then navigation, and then we can use like fly or walk navigation. And this is really cool. So like let's say walk navigation, for example, you can kind of like fly or walk above your 3D scene, and this is interesting because you can go everywhere, and like if you have your tunnel, for example, you could just fly through it like this. Of course, you gotta make sure your mouse is able to you're able to like point to everything well. It's basically like a video game, like how you look around in a video game. So let's just try that again. So let's see, where's the tunnel? So yeah, you gotta like remember where everything is. Woo, that's pretty cool. Alright, so let's go back. We also have another mode, and then navigation, and then we got fly navigation, which is almost like a spaceship or like an aircraft. Like it's more smooth, the motion. So like you look around, it's kind of like you're flying, maybe like a drone. And then we gotta just find where the Whoa, okay. It gets a little hard to control sometimes, so you kind of gotta get used to it. Yeah, I think I like walk navigation better. This is just very difficult. But, wow, okay, yeah. Definitely gonna use walk navigation. Too hard to control that mode. So let's just, first of all, before we start animating anything, let's just set the speed to be correct. So, walk navigation, too fast. Let's just slow that down to something maybe like this. This speed is probably pretty good. Maybe a little faster. And we can start out from like above. We're going to start out from here. But you don't want to go too high up, otherwise you start to see how your scene's limited. So you want to like kind of start up from here, and then kind of like, you want to go much slower. So I'm going to start over here, and we could just start. We could start on the animation now, so let's try navigation one more time. Then we got walk navigation. And we want to go at about probably around this speed. So let's find where the tunnel is. And then we're just going to fly through the tunnel. So that this is going to work out really well. And everything's nice and controllable. So let's go to, let's actually start the animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on auto keying, and I'm going to set my frame end to 1200. I'm sorry, 2000. And this is going to be quite a long animation, about a minute long, which is longer than most, but yeah, so I'm going to turn on this setting, auto keying, and then I'm going to turn on walk navigation, and you want to press spacebar and then quickly click on walk navigation, and that will set everything up. So I'm going to do the animation right now, so I'm going to press spacebar, okay, and then navigation. So we're animating now, and it's a little bit slower. Let's go a little slower now. And now let's kind of find our way through the trees. Makes things interesting. Now I think I lost the spot where the... Oh, there it is. Okay. So we're still animating. We're on frame 1600, so this might need to be sped up a little bit and some parts deleted. But there we go. That's the animation. And let's just exit the island. Whoops. Okay, it just accidentally erased it. So we gotta do that again. No big deal. So let's just set that to like 5,000 frames just in case that happens again. And I'm gonna just watch the frame counter very carefully. So let's see, where is the... It goes over here, so that's where I gotta end up. So view camera, And let's just do that again. So I'm going to just set this to be playing right now in the view navigation, walk navigation. Speed it up a little bit. Okay, there it is. That's the end. Alright, that seemed to work out pretty well. So now let's take those keyframes and we're going to go through the animation and adjust a lot of stuff. So let's make sure this starts at frame 0. And this frame animation will end on 1500 frames. So now you see if we play it back, there's a lot of, it's very jittery and it's just not smooth like it should be. It kind of just looks very distracting and it's just not what we want at all. So this definitely needs to be fixed. So what we can do to fix this is we can go into another screen, and what we're going to set up is the graph editor. So let's go into the graph editor, and you see what we got here is a lot of keyframes for our camera, and looks like it's actually not scaled up the best way, but that's alright. So we have to select all these keyframes, and then first off, before anything, we have to set up sample keyframes, and that will fill in all the gaps that are between the frames, which is very important. And then we will select Alto on the keyboard and hold it down, and it will smooth out the movement of the camera a lot. So let me just save everything. So I'm just holding down Alto, and you can see the graphs kind of adjusting. And it's taking some time. You want to get like at least like 20 iterations of this, so it's at like 3, 4, 5. Whoops, my computer is actually slowing down. That might be alright actually. Let's see how the camera looks now. Much better actually. Oh boy, that's not good. Okay, so we have to adjust some stuff. So right back in this frame, Let's undo some of that smoothing. It was too much. Yeah, so it's not good anymore. Okay, so back to frame. Around here, you notice that it gets problematic, so let's see, how do I scale this on only... I'd like to scale the graph, not the actual camera curve. I'm going to look that up quickly. I got it, so I looked it up. Apparently you just gotta go like this. So I'm just gonna drag I think that's how I do it. Okay, and it's slowly scaling it in the Y direction. And this direction could be scaled up. That looks a lot better. Now I can actually see what's going on here. So we got some editing to do. So right about here, you notice that we could take some of these keyframes and we can just use proportional editing mode right here. And if we just scale it up, and one of these is the one to influence the X direction, so is it this one? This one you want to bring up, so grab that one on the Y-axis, and this one we want it to look a little bit more down, and this one could stay as it is. That should be good. Let's make sure we actually enter it, and now you can see we're still clashing with the wall, so we need to fix this. Let's leave that one how it was, but we could just bring this one up slightly and maybe take this one or this one. Maybe this one? Nope. This one. And just bring that down a slight amount. And a lot of this stuff is just editing all these graphs. So now it looks okay. But you can see now that we are kind of crashing into the side of this again, so we have to fix that. So which one is the direction controller? This one is. So that's a little bit too extreme, but what I would like to do is just do it very subtly. But over here more too. Something like that maybe wouldn't be bad. But we have to smooth it out again a few times. And it looks like this is very jittered, which I'm not happy with. So what I'm going to do is just resample everything. And then we could just do that again. Seems like it's setting up the wrong interpolation now. Something's not set up correctly. Like this looks very bumpy, and I'm not sure what's going on. Let's see what options there are here. Interpolation should be just a sine wave. No, maybe not. Okay, it's not going to be constant. Bezier would be the best, but something odd is going on with this. Let's see, maybe instead of doing that, I could just decimate it. Yeah, I think, but you know what? I'm thinking that doing it this way is actually not working as I intended it to, so I'm actually gonna delete that because it's a complex camera move and I'm not exactly sure what's going on with those keyframes. So we're gonna do animation a little bit differently. So we got our camera. So our camera is we're just gonna keep the very first frame. It's like a robot. Yeah, my mic has not been acting. My mic has been acting up sometimes. Did it go back to normal yet? Yeah. Yeah, how's my mic working now? Gonna just turn it on to see how everything sounds quickly. Gonna just turn it on. Yeah, I'm getting sound on my end. It does sound a little bit odd though. And I really apologize for this. I am using my phone as a mic currently, so that's definitely what's causing the issue. But I'm gonna be buying a mic like in a few days, so this issue shouldn't go on too long. Let me just actually try resetting everything. It probably won't fix it, but yeah. Where am I from? I'm from the Northeast US. Yeah. Let me try that again and see if this... Yeah, I think I'm not going to get this camera thing to work properly. So we're going to be using curves instead to animate our camera. So let's just find where the camera is and go all the way over to frame 1. Frame 1, and just going to leave that keyframe in. And then I'm going to delete everything else. Whoa, okay. There it goes. Now it's working. So actually, it looks like something... I don't know what all these blue things are in the keyframes. That's what's causing the problem though, but I'm not going to do it this way because I think I can't figure out what's causing the issue, so I'll have to research that at a later time and figure it out why it does that. So let's just delete all these keyframes until the first one. There we go. And then X, delete keyframes. And then we could delete these ones too. And we're going to delete those. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up a curve object. And just a regular Bezier curve. And we'll use this to control the camera motion better. And it might actually do a better job because we can adjust things. Stuff like that. And before I do anything though, let's see if we can see it. And before anything, we need to turn the resolution up, and this is extremely important because if the resolution of your curve is too low, all these jagged lines will affect the way your camera moves through the scene, and it'll just make things not look good. So let's bring this all the way up as high as it goes, maybe 256, maybe even 528. I don't know, but probably don't have to go that high, but it's better to put it as high as it can go. So let's find where the camera is placed now. Camera's over here. And I'm going to just scale up the camera so I can see it better. So we're going to just kind of shape this curve to like kind of track where we want the camera to go. So let's just move it down and then we could just extrude it, kind of go through the trees a little bit, make it a little bit wobbly at times to give some kind of random movement to the camera. Can subdivide it, just move it maybe like that. And this allows you to control the camera really well. Let's have it flying through the trees at one point. Just adjusting this. Now you probably don't want to go right through the trees like that, so I'm gonna bring this up. And maybe that edge is a little bit harsh. Something like this might work a little bit better. It's too big. This one could be lower. And then I'm just going to extrude that all the way this way. Okay, and let's go to the camera, and before I do that though, let's just give the camera a modifier, which is, a constraint, and that will be track 2, curve. Let's name this camera curve. Track 2 camera curve, and we gotta get the positioning correct, so let's just go through these options and see which one works. Maybe we have to apply the scale. Oh, local space. Looks like it's working now. Let's view the camera. And you can see that if we actually, I believe it's not track 2, I believe it's follow path. Wrong one. Okay, so we gotta use follow path. And yeah, it is follow path. I remember now. Okay. So we're going to set that up, and then we can just go back and adjust the offset. Looks like the camera is somewhere now. I can't find it. Wow, it is all the way in space. So let's see why that's happening. So we have to adjust that to use the Z-axis, I believe. And let's just try adjusting this here. Maybe I have to apply all the transforms. Nope. Okay, so it seems like it's not working for some reason. Maybe Y position? Okay, so it is actually doing something now. Okay, so I think if I just reposition it to kind of look in the same direction I want it to, place it all the way at the top, and then kind of rotate it to look along the curve, that it will work properly. I think. Okay, so that is almost good, and I gotta get that to look at the ground. And now if I move this through, it seems like it's working. It requires a little bit of work. So I could go to frame, I want this to end at frame 1200, so I'm going to go all the way over to frame 1200 and then bring this all the way to the left. Okay, now why is the mesh hiding? Maybe it's because... Oh, I see what the problem is. Is it though? Okay, all the geometry is hidden. Not sure what's going on. Something happened to the camera too. Okay, what is going on? Because the... Oh, okay. But the landscape is here. Okay, so something really crazy happened to the scaling. Wow, okay. Yikes. Okay, so let's just undo that. That just went crazy. There we go. Much better. I don't know what happened there. So it keeps doing that. Seems like it's like scaling up when it shouldn't be. So influence is correct. But I do need this to not... Okay, I'm going to apply scale. Undo the keyframes, delete this keyframe. Now it's working. Okay, so it was because I had a keyframe in there I shouldn't have. Don't know why that happened, but I got it fixed. And now I'm just going to get the camera to be placed as close to the origin as I possibly could. And let's see, I want to adjust the rotation. to better match the curve. And especially the rotation on the x-axis. Now, if I play it through, so it's still doing that with the camera, so I might have to manually adjust that later. That's alright. So let's go to the end here. So we go through, and then we get to the end, and then I can place a keyframe right there. Let's go to -100. So there we go. Oh, and this has to be set to be at 0. So now if we view through the camera, excuse me, we view through the camera. The rotation is definitely not correct at all, but the overall camera movement is actually not bad. So we just have to fix the rotation now a lot. So we can just adjust the rotation by going like this, and let's actually not view past the edge here. So I to keyframe rotation, and then here we could set a keyframe for the rotation, and then we could pull it more this way. So we kind of got a good animation going on here. Okay, so what's going on here? Okay, so it's a very, very sharp turn. Okay, so that's a little bit chaotic. We can just make that a little bit milder. And we can also bring back that keyframe to there. I'm actually gonna adjust that right there, that turn. It's a little bit too sharp for me, actually. Go back to the camera. Now, of course, we have to go back to the beginning and fix this up a little bit. So we're just going to place the camera back so that it kind of aligns better. And we may have to adjust the rotation a little bit, but that's alright. Okay, that is not adjusted correctly, so we have to fix that a lot more. Okay, so I'm gonna do that again. Clean up those keyframes. Now if there was a way to get this to look forward to the path, that would be great, but it's not seeming to work for me. You know what? Let's do this. So Shift S, cursor selected, and then Shift S, selection to cursor. Nope. So it's not working. That is not. It should be snapping to this origin here, but I'm not sure why it won't. I have no idea why it's doing that. Rotation works properly, but yeah, something's not right. So I believe that the up axis is actually going to be Z. This might work better. Okay, and then axis that points forward would be the y-axis. That matched up much better. Now, if we could get this camera to point in the correct direction, that would be great. So let's just adjust that. Yeah, so it is the y-axis. You can see the y-axis is the correct direction that the camera has to be traveling in. The local y-axis. And then the x-axis. So I'm going to set this to local. That looks like it's aligned. Much better. Nope, but it still is not working properly at all. I mean, I feel like that. Let me see what's causing this. Okay, so let's apply all the transforms. It's just not pointing in the correct way. I don't know, let's see if that fixes it. I think I had better luck doing it the other way. May go back to that. Not really sure why I can't get that working properly. But I'm going to leave the curve as a reference so I can kind of fly in that direction. And I'm just going to try doing everything again. Okay, that's better. There we go. Awesome. And again, the camera, we don't want it to follow the path. And we don't want this keyframe okay. Okay, so our camera has to be moved again. I'm sorry about this. I keep making mistakes here. So this has to be rotated again. This has to be back. Almost got it. Let's just get that to be set up pretty good. Awesome, that's good enough. So now let's start our navigation. So I'm going to set that on. And oh, no. Okay, for some reason the position wasn't applying, so I just had to do that again. There we go. everything's good now. Let me now turn on automatic keyframing, play it, then turn on navigation, walk navigation. We're going. Actually, nope. We have to undo that because the rotation is not correct. Set that to be 0. And we could do that one more time. Space. Nope. We have to apply that keyframe again. There we go. And now automatic keyframing, play it, and then view navigation, walk navigation. So we're going to go above the trees a little bit. Right through. And we're just kind of walking through, and we're going to stop right about here. There we go. Now let's hope we don't mess this one up this time. So again, I will set this up again. By selecting all the keyframes, we can delete this first one. And now let's just see how everything looks. Not bad. Alright, and we could just smooth it a little bit, but not go too as crazy as we did the first time. So, keyframe, let's sample the keyframes. And now we could just press Alt-O a few times to mildly smooth it. And then check the animation, and we can always do more. I think that's really good, honestly. Could go a little bit more smoother, maybe, but I kind of like some of that random bumpiness. Just did 3 more amounts of smoothing. Okay, so it seems like I'm really getting something good here, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. So let's just view that camera again and make sure we're not hitting into anything. So the camera moves, we're going through. Everything seems pretty good. Not seeing any problems at all. Perhaps it seems a bit too smooth at times, and sometimes I want some random movement of the camera, and we could do that with some noise modifiers if we really wanted to. So I may add that in just to add some more realism to this. So let's go ahead and do that. So we could go to, like, I think it's in the modifiers, the drivers, I believe. Let's see. Could be wrong. Alright, maybe not. Graph editor, and then we need to again do the scaling of it so that we could see everything. There it is. Okay, so I'm just seeing how I can adjust this camera here. And I want to add some noise not to the location. I would like to do it to the rotation. So I'm just going to see how I would set this up. So modifiers, there it is. Okay, that makes sense. So it looks like if I adjust, I only want to adjust the rotation channels, so that would be, let's hide these. Or can't hide them, but let's just select these three, add modifier, then noise, and just these. Oh, you have to do one at a time. So this will add noise to the rotation. Now if we go to the camera right now, you're gonna see that, yeah, it's way too strong, and it's just looks very ridiculous. It's just the scale is just way too small, so we have some adjustments to do. So let's get that going here. So scale, let's pause this. Actually, I don't want it to replace. I would like to add to the original camera movement. Just seeing how I would set this up. It's a little confusing. maybe it's replace. Strength. Gonna reduce that. But what I need to do is, yeah, there we go. So like -90 in each of these, and you have to do these one by one. And maybe I'll bring the scale not so low, like -40. Seems like that it's not affecting the other axes though. So I gotta fix that. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna undo that. See, is it working? I actually don't think that it's adding to it. Yeah, it's definitely not working. Maybe I have to add in a keyframe. And then add in a noise modifier. That seems to fix it. So we gotta do that on the y-axis too, and on the z-axis. Okay, and I want to bring that down to like 0.1 for all of these. And then add in the keyframe for everything. So I'm not exactly happy with how that's coming out. I think I'd just like to add in okay, so does Earth curve? Yeah, let's try this again. One more time. So it's not affecting the other rotations. I noticed, and I'm not sure why. Noise. So that's the Y direction. Okay, so 0.1, 10 for the scale. That's actually pretty good. But let's go in and add noise to this channel too. 10, and then 0.1. And then same for this one. 10, and then 0.1. That's actually not bad. I think it's working on all of them now. But it's just too intense. Scale, let's bring that all the way up to 40. Maybe even more. 0.5. Bring it all the way up to 80. We want it to be very subtle. I think this is pretty good. It's just the tiniest hint of camera shake. So yeah, that's perfect actually, because it's just shaking the tiniest amount. And of course you could always tweak the strength and you could go a little more crazy with it, like 0.2. see how that looks. I think I'm going to go with something like 0.1. And I think that's what we're going to do. So I'll play this again and see how it looks. It's a little bit too intense though now. I'd like to bring up the scale a little higher. 140 actually. And I think this is what we're going to go with. It's that subtle amount of bumpiness that I kind of want to add in to the camera. That's perfect. Alright. So, I think that covers this video for today. Thank you guys for watching. Patreon link is in the description, and I have this file. I already posted the scene file, so you guys can download that and use any of these assets in your projects. So again, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be making many more tutorials and videos in the future. Thank you guys.